and technology answers are here.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Weinkoop and welcome to another edition of SWUG TV. Today we have Laura Rose back in the program talking more about things that come up at work and different ways to approach your career and your professional life, and got some interesting topics today. Welcome back to the show, Laura.
Thanks, Stephen.
So we've been talking a little bit before we went on the air here about messing with and controlling and managing instant messenger and chat and even text messaging and social media. And I think I mentioned I kind of see it as two things. There's sort of a communication layer, or a kind of a transactional thing, I guess, that is more doing the business of the company. And then there's the public-facing piece of things, which I think is where social media plugs into, and customer service, that type of thing. But let's start with the corporate side of things and how people communicate with customers and vendors and internally with instant messenger and these types of tools. I know you wrote an article talking about chat starting to replace the email, at least in some cases. How do you see that working in, and what do you recommend to people?
Well, the first thing I recommend is to acknowledge that all the tools are very good for a specific use. So we don't really want to substitute one tool for another. We want to make sure we understand the proper usage of each tool. Take chatting, the chat or instant message as an example. I look at chat or instant message more of an interruption, like you're tapping somebody on the shoulder to get their attention right away. And like you mentioned earlier, when we use chat, we almost expect an instant response from them. So if that's the way we want to do it, for instance, if somebody's waiting on a piece of information and they're sitting in a meeting, you can bring up a chat session and said, I sent that information to you in an email, so they know right away, hey, I have access to that information while they're in the meeting. That's a very appropriate way to use chat. But if they're in a meeting and you start to bring up chat to talk about, what happened over the weekend, that's probably not a very good way to use chat.
Right. I think the thing that people have to remember is it's very interruptive. It's, like you said, it's an instant response thing where you're sort of expecting somebody to get back to you right then. And that's a tough thing in the work environment. You're interrupting somebody else, and it's not like, oh, I don't like interruptions. It's not that kind of thing. It's just that you're sort of expecting that feedback and that response right that second. So in my mind, if it's appropriate for chat, it's all good. If it's not appropriate, then it's almost disrespectful of the person that you're trying to communicate with, because you're expecting them just to drop everything and answer your question or respond. And then there's an expectation too of, if you text me or if you IM me or something, I have to respond, even if it's okay, got it, or so there's no, I just wanted to let you know about something and go away. And so I think that's been some of the problem too with communication, is just that it sort of forces a right now conversation when you're using Messenger.
Exactly. And one other thing to consider is, if you do want to create a group chat environment, actually schedule it as a meeting, and then have a group chat environment with a scheduled time and purpose.
Yep. Yeah, there are some great tools for that. Even in like Google Plus has the Hangouts that you can do now that is a video chat, and you can do things with MSN Messenger and all the other different tools that are out there as well. So how do you then moving to the sort of the outside external facing stuff? How do you recommend people deal with the whole social media thing? I know that Facebook is just a fact of life for right now, and it could be professional and it could be personal. And I know there are other things too, Twitter and all these things. How do you recommend people work that and sort of manage that piece of what they have to do every day as well?
Well, that's a very good question. I actually had a question about, well, what if your boss tries to befriend you on Facebook? Would you accept that friendship? So that's a very sticky office etiquette situation. The nice thing about Facebook is that you can create groups, and you can have a professional group with all your professional co-workers and boss and clients, and then you can create a group of family and friends, and the things you place on the wall on your professional and what you want to put on your family picnic pictures and photos and stuff like that. So
right.
Be aware of the features and capability of each social media that you're using, and take a look at, hey, if I put this out there, can I filter who gets to see it and who doesn't? You don't want the whole world to see, what you did. If you don't want to invite your boss every weekend to your place, don't stick them on your family and friends Facebook group.
Right, very true. I know we had a little bit of a glitch there, but what you were saying is that if you set up the groups for public and private and professional, and you could post specific things to those groups, that really adds leverage to Facebook and the protection as well. Just don't go out and have a little bit to drink on Saturday night and forget to pick the right group as you post how much fun you're having, wandering around town or something. That would be bad.
Exactly. And like we were saying before, I want to be mindful and deliberate in everything that I do. Be deliberate in what you want to post on this wall and what you want to post in this group and things like that.
Yeah, very, very true. I guess the last thing I would suggest people is to work with your boss and work with the owners of the company to have a specific expectation in place. So if it has not been specifically addressed, so if nobody's actually come out and talked about, look, this is what we can do with Facebook, this is what we can do with social media or Twitter or whatever, then start that conversation now and have the guidelines. Because if you're working in a vacuum, the chance of you getting it wrong is very high.
Exactly. I am 100% in accordance with total transparency. If you don't know what you're supposed to do, ask.
Yes.
Can't get in trouble.
Very, very important. Very important. Well, thank you very much. As always, great stuff, good information, and I feel like a police show. Like, be careful out there.
Exactly. What was that show? Be careful out there.
Wasn't it like NYPD Blue or something like that? They ended
yeah.
up with, yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot, Laura. Great to have you on the show again.
Thanks, Steve.